Howdy one and all, and welcome back. Ruckus here with another Tall Talk episode. I've got myself a beer, sitting in front of the computer, determined to get through this. Lots of rambling by me today, but not too much ranting, I don't think. Things are okay in Blitz for me at the moment. Looks like the defender crisis from the last Tall Talk has kind of mellowed out by now. I still don't like it in game, but looks like its popularity has faded. There's still definitely too many tier 8 Soviet heavy tanks in game for it to be called balanced, but the worst of it is past, it would seem, which is a good thing. I'd still prefer it wasn't in the game, don't get me wrong, but things are okay at the moment. And you do remember I had a big whinge about the ping in the last episode, and wouldn't you know it, like the week after that episode aired, the ping dropped back down to 80 milliseconds, which is about as good as it gets here. And it's like that at the moment, off and on. So, yeah, it's been good. I happened to look through the Blitz stat app just the other day, a couple of days ago, and noticed for the first time, I think for the first time since I swapped from mobile to Mac OS, my win rate, and generally my stats in general, on average, I'm not dipping below, or badly below, what I once was. So that possibly signifies that things, for me, are having a bit of a turnaround. I was struggling there for a while. So things like my kill to death ratio is still way below what I'd like it. But yeah, win rate can be propped up by platooning with good players, which I do. But it looks like things are getting better. And a lot of that is down to not just the ping being better, but also the Blitz developers. I do rant at them quite a lot, but they have ironed out most of the bugs in the Mac OS controls by now. There's only a few things that still irk me. One of them is the auto aim. I'm a big fan of auto aim these days. I don't know how I got by without it on mobile. I used it quite a bit on PC. Never used it at all. Didn't use it once on mobile when I was playing on the iPhone. But now that it's so easy to engage on PC or Mac OS, I use it quite a bit. But it is still buggy. Sometimes it refuses to lock, and sometimes, even more annoying, it refuses to release lock. So no matter how many times I click the bloody mouse, the turret is still facing an enemy that I'm no longer interested in when I'm trying to engage someone else. So occasionally that still wigs out on me, but generally the controls on Mac OS have been ironed out, and things are a lot smoother on this platform. And my confidence in my own game is definitely on the rise again. Will it get to where I was at my peak on mobile? I don't think so, but if I can get at least almost as good as that, I'll be happy. What else is going on in game? Well, I've definitely noticed that my profitability has taken a bit of a nosedive lately. I think it's down to the implementation of the provision system here in Blitz and the changes to the vehicle profitability. I think it's hard kind of to tell how much I've lost, but I reckon it's about 20k credits per game across all my vehicles, premium and standard. I think, anyway, that's just a rough estimate. I haven't really done any statistical analysis of it, but money isn't coming in quite as fast as it once was, and it's probably down to the fact that I don't really play my premiums as much now that we've got a bunch of new lines. I'm working up the new TD lines, and I've spent about 10 million recently on, what did I buy? T28 prototype, which is not fully upgraded yet. I'm really enjoying that thing. It's too slow for me. The Sperrpanzer 1C, that little tier 7 light tank, is an absolute beast. I love it. And I think those light tanks are a good addition to the game. I think they're well overdue. I really like heavy tanks for their, just the size and the imposing strength of them. The medium tanks are the all-rounders, the TDs for the big damage numbers. But the light tanks have kind of never really had a role, but they've done well implementing them, I think, in Blitz. It was always going to be a bit of a interesting thing to watch them bring those in, because on PC that I think they've got a lot less hit points and they're a lot more fragile, so they've had to beef them up to more medium tank like levels of durability to make them work in Blitz, but they do, and at the same time they're not overpowered at the same time, I think. Anyway, I know the Dragon is quite popular, so it must be very strong, but the new German light tanks I think are a good balance. On top of that, I'm up to the SU-101, that tier 8 TD. of the new Object 263 line, and I've kind of been dreading this machine because it's where I got to on PC on that line. I really wanted that Object 263, but yeah, just that lack of gun depression and the average kind of all-round stats of the SU-101 kind of stalled me there. But so far it's okay. Love the SU M100. That thing is an absolute beast. I loved it on PC as well. It's fast, it's nimble. The gun, it's not amazing, but it pumps out the DPM. It's just a great machine. So looking forward to getting through the SU-101 and onto bigger and sexier things. That SU-122-54, I reckon that's the best looking tank in the game. I really want it. And just finished the Flak Toaster. Everyone rages against that thing, but I quite enjoyed it. It cannot take a hit, but if you can keep that thing hidden, which is quite easy to do, seeing the camo on it is outrageous. The gun makes up for the lack of armor. It's a good machine. And now I'm on to the Nashorn, which is okay. I think it's just going to be one of those things where I just blast through and don't think about it too much. And of course, I rebought the Tiger from my Tiger 223 skin, which was pretty popular. Everyone seemed to like that, so I hope a lot of you are out there able to download it and add it to your game. I think next I'll work on the IS, the heavy tank, Soviet heavy tank at tier 7. Do up an historical skin on that thing, because it was another one of those tanks that I'd already passed through before I started this channel. And so that is where my money's gone. I know it's a bit unusual for someone with 30 million credits to be whinging about the lack of money in game. But I am down from 40 million, so come on, I'm strapped for cash at the moment. I need money for the mouse, which I've finished the grind towards. The Leopard prototype, haven't bought that yet. Same with the AT-15, the tier 8 British TD. And I need to rebuy that IS, obviously, and the T-54, so I can finally get myself an Object 140. Everyone keeps asking me what's better, the Object 140 or the T-62A, and I can't tell you because I have not ever played the Object 140. Also, some results from that last Tall Talk I did. You remember I put a poll up that asked, do you like the new fantasy tanks? After I had a big rant against the Defender. And the answer was overwhelmingly, no, you guys do not like the fantasy tanks. I got a couple of hundred responses, 95% no, 5% yes. So definitely not a fan of the fake stuff. You guys, at least the viewers on this channel, who I guess are more aligned with my views. If you listen to me, you're probably more aligned with my views. So it's not really an unbiased poll, but you guys definitely agree with me on that one. And there was another question. Would you prefer PC style instead of the fantasy tanks? Would you prefer instead that the developers did PC style, along those historical lines, ending with the 50s and 60s, or more modern vehicles instead? And for that, it was 65% wanting just the PC style, not getting too modern, and 35% wanting perhaps the game to implement tanks up to today's age, without worrying about things like the modern advances in tracking and stabilization and that kind of stuff. So just making it this kind of game, but with modern vehicles. So thank you guys for taking the time to respond to that one. Put your 2 cents in. I did send that off to Ozan, the Asian server producer. You might know him from the Blitz to Meet You series of videos. And the answer was pretty much regarding the Defender problem. What Defender problem? So no change there. But you can only try, can't you? Now, in news that'll be music to the ears of those of you out there who have been complaining about my recent content, the stuff that shows my own gameplay. A lot of you have said that the UI is too small, like the map is too small to see what's going on. You can't see the names of players, you can't read the chat, you can't see easily what kind of ammo selection I've gone with. Those of you out there who've had those complaints, I've got good news for you. I'm changing my setup slightly so that the overall look of the recordings regarding the UI will be more like it was in the past. I'm not too sure whether it'll be exactly like it was in the past. In fact, it won't be, but it'll be a lot closer. The problem is that I've been using my iMac screen with the game application open fully, and my iMac screen is a massive resolution. It's a 27-inch screen, and the UI is as big as I can make it on that thing. It's about, what do I have to scale it down from? When I bring it into my video editing application, I have to scale the footage down to 75% of its size just to make it HD YouTube size. So it's down to the huge resolution of the Apple screen. But I'm swapping to my second screen. I run a dual screen setup here on my desktop. My second screen is just a standard HD screen. So if I record off that, it'll look a lot more, I think, like how things were in appearance when I was playing on the iPhone, and should be a lot easier for you guys out there to follow along with, you know, some of the smaller details like the map and ammo selection, that kind of stuff. So if you had that complaint, things will change, but it will take a while to get to that point because I've still got a bunch of replays saved up on the old setup. So I've got to get through some of those. I've got an SU M101 gameplay / review coming out, plus a few other things that I'll have to get through, but it will change eventually, so stick with me. And that's pretty much all I've got news for in the game. My life, if you're interested in it, I'm going broke at the moment, even though I've just had a pay rise from work, but my flatmates have just recently moved out. I had a German couple living with me, Nina and Frederick. They've gone back to Germany, so I'm renting, yes, renting, a 2-bedroom place in the heart of Perth by myself, and it's costing me a goddamn fortune. So I'm going backwards in money at the moment. Hopefully that won't last too much longer, even though I do love living by myself. I'm too old now to be living with people that aren't family. But necessities, I can't afford it, so I will be looking for new flatmates. And on top of that, I've got some trips coming up that I have to book flights for. I've booked flights for a Bali trip with some mates who are doing some glam travelling. They are like Perth glamour couple. They're not doing it cheap. So going to Bali, which is a very West Australian thing to do, next month. It'll be my first time in 9 years living here, almost 9 years living here in Perth. And I've got to book flights back home for Christmas coming up. If I leave those any later than now, it's going to cost me an absolute goddamn fortune. It's like, on average, $500 to get from one side of Australia to the other. And if I leave it more than a month or two, it's going to cost twice that much. No joke. So I have to book that soon for Christmas, see the family. And also I've got another trip coming up in November to Melbourne. I have to book a weekend in Melbourne because me and my brother, hopefully, he's pretty flaky, he might bail on me, but me and my brother are going to PAX, the gaming convention in Melbourne. I think it's on the 4th of November, 4th to the 6th perhaps, something like that. So I'll be there checking out the games convention. I've never been to one before, so pretty psyched to be going. And I guess if anyone out there else is going, maybe you live in Melbourne or maybe you're on the East Coast, you could travel down for it. If you're going, hit me up on Facebook. I love to hang out with some people and just tool around the convention, playing games and checking out the latest gear, I guess. Yeah, and that's about it. That's where I'll probably wrap this one up, I think. About 15 minutes or thereabouts. Enough to get a few gameplays in. Thanks once again to all who have been sending me replays. I know I can't use all of them, but I do appreciate the effort you guys are putting in. It's making my life easier. And yeah, that's it. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.